Welcome to Best Most. I'm your host, Jose Jogo Gonzalez. This is the podcast where we ask the questions, what is the best or what is the most? For example, we ask questions like, what is the best dance-off movie? Or what are the albums that we love the most but aren't the best? Before each episode, I ask our online community a question that our guests had chosen as our topic. I then go over the community answers with our guests, and we also discuss our own answers. You can check out and answer the questions on best.most.pod Instagram page. Join the conversation. I've known our guest today as a super knowledgeable certified optician who has created a name for himself and a brand. The brand being Optical Jedi, but he is also a type 3C diabetic, board member of Grown Up T1Ds, and was in a Dexcom Big Game commercial. He also rode a bicycle from San Diego to Cabo and has done work with liningup.net. Welcome to Best Most, Ric Peralta.
Thanks so much, Jose. It's always great to see you.
Yeah. For people who don't know, I'm an optician at an office in Orange, and I've met Ric a bunch of times. We work in the same field, but he does a whole lot more than me, and I don't know how he has the energy for it.
That diabetic background. So, I became diabetic through an illness that, by all rights, I should not have survived. I was hospitalized for 3 months, lost 70 pounds, had a 16-pound cyst removed, and I came out of that kind of like, well, I can't waste any time. I just got to go.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes so much sense. Today's question is, what is the most quotable movie? As always, our guest chooses the question. Ric Peralta, what made you choose this question?
Well, I am, as you can tell by the gray hair and the beard and everything, I'm very much a Gen Xer. And I feel like anyone who is from my generation, we are so steeped in pop culture in a kind of a different way. Like the way we had to consume pre-digital age, we would go to that theater over and over and over and over again. And, when you fell in love with a movie, they were inexpensive at the time. So you just go over and over. And all these lines became so ingrained. You go to Blockbuster and you rent those movies and you just burn them out. And it's like I find working with a bunch of Gen Zs and a couple of millennials over the last couple of years, and it's just like they don't think quite the way I do in general, but I feel like sometimes every word that's coming out of my mouth is a movie reference, and nobody in the room gets it. And that's just the way my head works. And I think that's the case for a lot of Xers. And so I felt like it's just a very fitting question. It was something that was kind of on my mind already anyway, because I've been talking about this with my coworkers. This is a time to just throw it out there and let's go for it.
Yeah, I totally get that. Working with a lot of younger people, I feel the same way, where it's like you are in a situation and want to say something from a movie because it fits the occasion so well.
Absolutely.
But then you're like, okay, they're not going to get this.
Yeah, I'm like, I've just kind of gotten to the point where I've accepted, I'm doing it for me. They're not going to get it. I don't care. I'm not doing it to be funny. I'm doing it because that's the way my brain works.
That's cool. That's a good way to do it. So we're going to go into the community picks. We're going to go back and forth. Ric, go ahead. Feel free.
So again, I was talking about this with some coworkers, and again, it was really interesting to me to see the generational gap differences. And one of the things that popped up immediately when I brought it up was White Chicks. And I'm sure this is a great pick. I've never seen it. I have no reference point. So I was just kind of like, well, I guess this is really a big deal. And that was the reaction was how have you not seen this? And I'm like, well, I mean, I don't know. It just, for my sensibilities, it just did not work. It didn't, I never was drawn to it. But I know that it's a very quotable film from everything I've heard, but I've never seen it.
Terry Crews steals every scene that he's in. So I would recommend
no matter
it.
What project he does. I mean, it's like, you take this over to the TV realm, and obviously with the Brooklyn Nine-Nine, obviously with the last name Peralta, I've gotten lots of references to that show over the years, even before I watched it. And yeah, I mean, Terry he steals everything he's in.
Yeah, he's great. Redneck Fox 23, he chose Tombstone. He said, evidently, Mr. Ringo is an uneducated man. Now I really hate him. So I'm guessing that's a quote from that movie. I haven't seen Tombstone in so long, but I remember loving that movie.
So, funny thing. So my daughter she's been in a film program in LA County now for, this is her third year. She's actually in a class in the other room right now. And, so part of being in this film program has made her really kind of obsess a little bit on getting the chance to see older films in theaters whenever they're at a Fathom events or anything like that. And we actually went and saw Tombstone in person at the Frida down in Santa Ana for the
Mm,
anniversary for Val Kilmer. For they were celebrating his life with a whole bunch of his films, and like it is such a supremely quotable film, so much fun. Val steals every scene he's in.
yeah, I do remember that.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like, how do you not think of Huckleberry every time you see his face?
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
I'll be a Huckleberry.
yeah, and it's are we cross? It's like it's so full of great lines, and yeah, I totally get it. Like there have been a handful of films we've seen recently. Actually, a couple of things I'm going to bring up later on that we just saw in the theater that were celebrating like 25th anniversaries. There's a hint for you.
Oh, there you go.
Next was again, it's it was a lot of this was like chat with my coworkers, not so much the online community as much as my actual personal community.
That
And
works.
another one that popped up, and this one I totally understood where it came from. And again, it was a generational gap thing. Like it even though it's a supremely quotable film, it didn't pop into my head,
Okay.
and that's Despicable Me.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like you lean into any of that classic, of course, with all the minions and their banana jokes
Gibberish.
and all that kind of stuff. But you going beyond that, and Gru is just so funny. Steve Carell just sells that so well that it's just like it's just full of great lines.
Yeah, I think it is like a generational thing because that movie, I mean, we were adults when that movie came out too as
Uh-huh.
well. And I think when you're a kid, you really hold on to certain films.
Oh, absolutely.
So I think that was a generational thing. I enjoyed that movie a whole lot, but I didn't really love that movie, if that makes sense.
And like another one that popped in kind of in that same vein was like a lot of the imagination films in general
Hmm.
that were all. I felt like they were. I was I was too old to appreciate him the way like a kid that was 5 or 10 when they saw
Hmm.
it the first time, when I was already in my 20s or 30s when I saw it, and I'm like, "Well, yeah, it's good. I enjoyed it, but this is not gonna lock in my memory the same way. It's not a core memory." To tease like the Inside Out joke, I guess, on that. But there's some great lines in these things. It didn't hit quite home for me the same way.
Yeah, it's I totally see that. It's not it's kind of like theirs. It's not ours, and we had
Hmm.
ours as well too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Jason chose Nacho Libre.
There are a couple of actors, comedians that are really considered as kind of generational artists that are really
Hmm.
spectacularly well loved that frankly never fully clicked for me when they were at their peak of success. And Jack Black was one of them. Like at the time, I just felt like he was a little too over the top for me, and it
Hmm.
just didn't hit home. But I know that there are such great lines in that, and I had friends that were quoting it all the time, even though I never even sat in the theater to see it. And I
Yeah.
feel like honestly, the next one I'm just going to come up here in a second. Um, well, I mean, I guess I can spin into it right now. I'll throw mine out
Yeah. Yeah.
as the next one that was brought up was the Anchorman.
Hmm.
And yes, Will Ferrell is in. He's a funny guy. He's incredibly quotable, but I can only take him in doses. I love him more as a Kings fan, as a hockey guy, than I do
Yeah.
as a comedian. And like I've never seen Anchorman.
Whoa.
I know people love it, and I've never actually gone to see it because I was just like, oh, it's a Will Ferrell movie, and I don't want to see it. But I'm like, so many people have brought it up over and over and over again, and I know there are a couple lines in there. I love Scotch,
Hmm.
and I know he has this whole thing about Scotch, and I'm like, maybe I need to watch it just for that. I don't know.
I remember watching a lot of like Jim Carrey movies, and I loved Jim Carrey as a kid. But at some point, same thing. I kind of got like tired of Jim Carrey for a while.
Hmm.
But then I rewatched, I think it was like The Mask or something like that,
Yeah,
and then watched Dumb and Dumber, and I was like, oh, this hits better now that I had some distance from it.
yeah. Well, and I feel like when you bring up the Jim Carrey stuff, like that was my age of Gen X. They were
Hmm.
he was the Jack Black or the Will Ferrell of that era. And so
Hmm.
like I sucked up everything he spit out. Like it was just
Yeah.
like I went and saw everything he was in and enjoyed them all. And yeah, they were incredibly quotable, but Yeah, it's I guess again it's a little bit of a generational gap thing, but like yeah, Carrie hit hard for me back then,
Yeah.
and I don't know. I'm curious to see if I still enjoy him as much now if I went back and rewatched it.
I think you might enjoy him differently. I think
Yeah,
that would probably be the case.
yeah.
Because again, because you I don't think we're that far in age. I want to say I'm
Um,
44.
no, I've got 9 years on you.
Okay,
I come across a little younger than I really am,
I think so.
but because I don't slow down,
Yeah, it's the energy.
and I'm insanely passionate about a lot of pop culture things. So I know I don't necessarily read like I'm in my 50s, but yeah, I'm there. I'm 53.
I'm right behind you, so no worries. So next one I got is Rockstar.
Honestly, I don't even know what that is. I have no idea.
It's with Mark Wahlberg. I think it's with like Jennifer Aniston. I've never seen that movie. I gotta check it out because I mean, it's one of those movies that didn't really appeal to me when it came out.
Hmm.
But I'll check it out now. I might
Yeah.
enjoy it now. What do you got?
So, again, we were talking about the Illumination Studios, and one that came up repeatedly from more than one of my friends. It was Shrek,
Yeah,
and yeah, I mean, Shrek is an supremely quotable film. I totally get that, and it was still something that just like it didn't even cross my mind to bring up until somebody else said something like, "Yeah, I mean, I know a ton of lines from that."
yeah.
But it's not something that's ever worked its way into my regular daily like movie reference catalog.
I'm surprised I don't have Shrek. There's a lot of movies that are quotable, but doesn't necessarily mean that it's gonna be something that sticks the whole time.
Mhm.
When I was looking for my choice, I was like, oh, this one, and I'm like, yeah, but I have a reason to not choose that one.
Yeah. I had honestly, when it came to this question for me, it was instantaneous without hesitation. I knew exactly what the right answer was. Like
I almost feel like
no
I can guess your
delay
answer.
at all. I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. Again, I did chat about this with the family as well, and
Mhm.
kind of getting their opinions on it. We are a hardcore Disney household, right?
I kind of figured that out.
We're at the parks all the time. Amongst those other things that I never slow down for. Hey, look at that's a gorgeous tiki mug there. That's beautiful. Um, so one of the
For
ones
people
that
who are listening, I showed him a tiki mug. That's a Star
yes,
Wars tiki mug. Tiki mug.
yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
So one of the ones that did pop up from that kind of Disney realm, um, and again, and I'm not surprised by this, especially with my wife, who is a kind of a fanatical Peter Pan fan. Like
Mm.
she's done all kinds of like actual working on a master's using Peter Pan as a reference for it.
Oh, cool.
And we've seen the original silent film that was shot out in Catalina. Like she loves Peter Pan, so that did come up as one of hers. Because and again, it's like with all the Disney films, there's they were masterpieces for a reason, right? They're considered classics for a reason, and
Yeah,
everyone knows the dialogue, even if they've never seen the movie.
true, true. So hers was Peter Pan.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought you were gonna go with I thought she was gonna go with Hook, just because Hook is like that's a very quotable movie too.
It is, absolutely, and it's also amongst the favorites. But
I
yeah,
love that movie.
that she did go with the original.
Very cool. So Don Juan Estrada, he's a frequent flyer. He chose Step Brothers, runner up, the first half of Full Metal Jacket, Mike Myers movies from So I Married an Axe Murderer to Austin Powers, Wayne's World for elder millennials and Gen X, but number one is probably Ace Ventura: Pet Detective, the first
Oh,
one.
wow. Yeah, I mean, well, again, it's like Jim Carrey he comes up for a reason, right?
Yeah.
Definitely, there were a couple things that were mentioned there that did cross over into my honorable mentions category that were listed there. But one that we actually my wife and daughter just did a whole dance routine to they were in a dance class in a dance studio, and they just did an entire go-go dance to Austin Powers. So that's
Oh,
very much on their forefront right now. My daughter
that's
brought
cool.
that one up because again, supremely quotable. So it's funny that we had another crossover point, but I mean, I guess we shouldn't be surprised. Their quotable films are quotable for a reason. Everyone knows them.
Yeah, and I used to watch Ace Ventura: Pet Detective all the time. even when I probably shouldn't have watched that movie. But I
Well,
love that movie. It's
there's
so
our
good.
age gap because at that point, yeah, it's like I'm full blown adult already, so that's no big deal.
That was a good one. I like that one. And also that's a deep cut. So I married an axe murderer. That's a deep cut for a
That
Mike
is
Myers
honestly
movie.
that was one that I almost went with as my final choice.
Really?
I love that film so much, and I do quote it almost every day. Like, it is really, like, something that I bring up all the
Wow.
time.
That's cool.
And, I am from San Francisco originally, so it did hit home for me for that reason. Like, I very much knew the places and the people that were being referenced. Um, and, you know, the whole beatnik poet vibe of North Beach, that's still kind of a thing, even,
Oh, that's
60
cool.
years after it started. So, like, it strikes. It really hits home. And I mean, that poem, whoa, man.
Whoa,
Yeah,
man.
I
Yeah.
could I could go on and on with that one.
What was it? Where he calls that little kid head. He's like,
Yes.
head.
Virtual planetoid.
Do you have another one?
Yeah, so well, I mean, again, my daughter did bring up the awesome powers, and obviously that's super obvious, right? I mean, you got the all the yeah baby yeahs, and
Yeah.
and of course the maybe slightly less appropriate to be hearing your daughter bringing up about do I make you horny? But there it is, it's a really funny movie with lots of great quotes, and of course, you got the $1 million. I mean,
Yeah.
how many people who hasn't done that at some point?
Yeah. Was it moly, 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 moly? That,
And
that's a great
I want my
movie.
baby back ribs.
Supposedly they're making a new one too. So that's
Yeah,
exciting.
wow, that'll be wild.
Kevin's not on social media. He chose Office Space. That's a deep cut too.
That's also one of my honorable mentions. Like, it's
Really?
God, that movie's so good. It's such a
It
great
is.
film it's too much forgotten now. I feel like it actually could be teaching our society something.
Mm.
But it is so funny with the case of the Mondays. Who doesn't said at their work at some point that you got a case of the Mondays, right?
I always felt that movie was a little bit underrated.
Oh, absolutely. It was clearly a low budget film. Um, and even at that point, like Jennifer Aniston, I mean,
Hmm.
outside of Friends, she hadn't done anything, and she had
True.
a great role in that. And it's just like the whole thing was so well done. And of course Stephen Root with his his swing line stapler. Yeah,
Oh yeah.
it's so great. Um, yeah, and I can't. I'm always my head, even if I'm not saying words out loud, things are running through my head about them. Want to be a gangster smashing the printer. It's such a great film.
So hello Becca. She said a tie between Nacho Libre and Clueless.
Oh, Clueless, yeah. Another one
So good.
that we did go see in the theater not too terribly long ago for its anniversary.
Oh, that's cool.
And again, so great quotable. I mean, of course, the as ifs and all that. It's so good.
It's so rich in like this made up vernacular too, because I know
Yeah.
nobody was really talking like people in Clueless at that
Or
time.
dressing like that.
Yeah.
But they create an entire vibe. People still dress like that. Everyone wants to be Cher.
Cass underscore Chavez underscore fitness chose Napoleon Dynamite and Nacho Libre and Mean Girls.
Oh, Mean Girl, of course. I mean, it's quotable enough that it made a Broadway show.
Oh yeah, I hadn't seen that movie until I was a lot older.
Mhm.
But really enjoyed it because I always, I was like, oh, it's probably not. I'm probably not the demographic.
The quote unquote chick flick, right? So.
Yeah, but when I watched it, I was like, oh no, I think everyone is the demographic for this movie.
Oh
It's
yeah, no, it's so
hilarious.
great. It's calling out, clicks and caste systems and when you see, people giving up who they really are to try to be popular and realizing the mistakes of that, it's got so many
Yeah.
layers of great, like morality lessons built into
Yep.
it. And then you're laid with all the great stuff about on Wednesdays we wear pink and stop trying to make fetch a thing, and it's like it's got so many great lines in it. It really does.
Yeah. Super quotable. Cat Rider, she chose Better Off Dead, Pulp Fiction, Fast Times at Ridgemont High, Goonies, Ace Ventura, and she said I'd add American Pie and Superbad.
Better Off Dead, like it does have great lines, but for me, that's like when I was thinking about this category, I'm like, what makes it quotable? Like there are some movies that it's all about the one line that has that
Hmm.
one line that is so good that everyone knows it, everyone says it. And others, it's about having so many options that
Yeah.
it's layered and nuanced and you can make it fit any situation. And for Better Off Dead, it's very quotable, but it's for just the I want my $2. That's the for me, it's all about the I want my $2. And I do say that on a pretty regular basis.
They're like, sir, what?
Exactly, right? Yeah, I know like nobody in the room is getting it, but I don't care. I get it.
That's cool.
Um and then of course with Goonies, I mean, I'm a fanatical Goonie head. I've even been to the house up in Astoria,
Mm,
Oregon. It's I love that movie to death. And yes, it's incredibly quotable. I mean, it was such. It's always great when you have these spectacular ensemble casts, no matter
hmm.
what age they are. When you know you've just created this amazing chemistry of these people that just work so well together, and it's hard to top. You know, when you had
Yeah.
that group together, you're bound to have great moments, creating great deliveries, which make them so memorable.
Also, just a benchmark kid flick, you know?
Oh, absolutely.
We've talked about other benchmark movies like, horror movies, Exorcist.
Hmm.
We talked about Batman, The Dark Knight,
Hmm.
superhero movies. I think Goonies is one of those movies where it's like the benchmark kid flick that you have all these other movies that are like compared to, like or even
I don't think
shows.
we would even have Stranger Things if we didn't have Goonies.
I agree. Let's see. Shannon, he chose Anchorman and Step Brothers. Step Brothers is another very quotable movie. John C. Riley. It's weird. I remember I never had seen John C. Riley as a comedic actor before this movie,
Hmm.
and he just freaking killed it.
He's got some serious range because he can play the soft, melancholic guy. He can do the Broadway musical shows, but
Hmm.
he can do slapstick and just goofy humor so well.
Yeah, and he's like on. I remember he was on Tim and Eric.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Bruja underscore Rosa 58. Anchorman, amazing.
I knew that one was going to come up a lot.
Yeah, I know. Mr. Sam Slick, he chose Dumb and Dumber, funniest movie of our generation. I can't disagree. I would love Dumb and Dumber. Dumb and Dumber is like super quotable, and I remember watching it fairly recently, and it still is amazing.
There's been like you're talking about these kind of benchmark movies, but I also think there's kind of like benchmark epochs in filmmaking, and I think that if you look at like that, probably around 95 to 99, there were some really interesting trends that happened during that stretch. And one of those trends was these spectacular over the top comedies. There's something about Mary, Dumb and Dumber, you know,
Oh yeah,
uh, the Pet
Farley
Detective,
Brothers.
these completely nuts things that just had people rolling in the aisles from pain of laughing. They were so good. And it's fascinating when you can look at these little chunks. I'm like, why did that happen right then? And then it just kind of vanished once we hit 2000. I don't know if it was because of
Yeah,
9/11, things couldn't be funny that way anymore or what, but like the whole game changed after
yeah,
2000. You just didn't see those movies happening anymore.
yeah. That's a good point. Recently, my wife and I went to go see Scary Movie, the newest Scary Movie.
Hmm.
Um, I was going in hopes, thinking, "Oh, it's going to be great to go see a comedy with the audience in a movie
Hmm.
theater." I haven't seen a comedy in so long with the audience, and it wasn't the same. To be honest, it
Yeah.
wasn't the same. It could just the movie was okay.
Yeah. I've heard mixed things about it.
Yeah, but I remember like going to see like Something About Mary in the movie
Hmm.
theater, and everyone was just rolling on the aisles.
Oh
It was
yeah. I
such
mean,
a great movie.
I think that's really the first comedy I saw where I was in physical pain from the laughing.
Yeah,
Like I almost thought I had to leave the theater to try to catch my breath again because I was hurting so much. I've never laughed at a movie like that before.
yeah, I missed that. This is Rosa, my wife. She chose Napoleon Dynamite. I was gonna choose that as one of my choices, but I've talked about Napoleon Dynamite before. in previous podcasts. So I was like,
Mhm.
let's try something else. But great movie. I quote that movie almost weekly, I'd say. Love it.
It's a pretty spectacular film, and it's amazing when such a small film
Mhm.
can catch the zeitgeist of that moment and be something that lives well beyond what it was ever expected to do. And that film it just hits. It still
Yeah,
does.
and well, even also, it's not like it was a small budget, but it's just
Mhm.
such a quiet film,
Mhm.
like a quiet film. So to be so hilarious, just
It's
watching it, right? You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Like,
Yeah, it's like it's not layered with like big soundtrack score or anything like that. There's no
nope.
big composer component. It's silent when there's no dialogue.
Yeah,
And it's just it really is a great film.
it almost uses that silence as a tool.
Absolutely. Mhm.
Um, Candice underscore Ramirez 18. She chose Anchorman. She says, "I love Scotch, Scotchy Scotch." LOL.
Sláinte. Ah.
And then last one is Edroad underscore D Carmona. He chose Billy Madison for sure. My kids even know all the memorable quotes. O'Doyle rules. So that's my brother, and he's not kidding. My nephew would just go over like lines and lines of dialogue in that film over the phone when I would talk to him. I was so proud to be honest.
That's great.
Um, those have been our community picks. We're going to go to our picks now. So, Rick Peralta, what is the most quotable movie?
Well, for me, frankly, I'm kind of surprised this didn't come up at all through all of these discussions and other people's picks. But for me, nothing can top The Big Lebowski.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I knew you weren't going to expect that one. You were probably expecting Star Wars, weren't you? And
No, I thought you were going to say Airplane.
Airplane is great, and
Yes.
it is definitely one that has been in my mind, one of my honorable mentions.
Hmm.
I mean, don't call me Shirley, seriously.
Yeah.
But uh, for me, Lebowski, like it is something that I literally quote every day, multiple times a day. It just I don't know, and like I was just the right age, the right time when I saw this, and obviously, that movie came out when I was already full blown adult. I'm in my 20s, um, late 20s, but still 20s, and but it
Yeah.
just hit. It hit so hard for me, capturing a moment in a time, and I felt like captured people that I kind of knew in a lot of ways. And I mean, it's like for years before my daughter was old enough to see that movie because it is not for kids.
No, not at
I
all.
would say to her, "Donnie, you're out of your element, Donnie," over and over again. Whenever she would say, "Huh," I'm like, she's been staring at her phone and not listening to me. Like, "You're out of your element, Donnie." It just, it's I love that movie so much, and it's always percolating in the back of my head.
You're also that perfect age for that movie. I think in your mid-20s, I'd say about
Yeah,
mid-20s, early 30s, that's like the perfect age to watch that movie for the first time.
and and it was never a huge hit, a huge success. And in a lot of ways, it was one of the greatest failures at the time of a Coen Brothers movie. But it's had a life beyond that that's
Oh
just
yeah.
been mind blowing. And it's like there's literally there's Dudism. It's a literal church now built around his philosophies, and they do these giant conventions at bowling alleys every year. And it's just Lebowski
Yeah,
Fest
that's
is a
crazy.
thing. It's got a whole nother life now, and so I know I'm not the only one that feels this way.
Oh no. Yeah. I love that movie. I haven't seen it in maybe I want to say about 5 years or so, but and we've talked about this movie in past podcasts, but yeah, it hits so well. In such a different way too, and it's such great actors too, like Philip Seymour Hoffman too as well. Strangely Flea.
Yeah, right. But yeah, it's just like the casting is spectacular. The way the Coens have always been so good at being able to take a genre and then somehow cross it with another genre and make
Uh-huh.
them mesh perfectly when they really should not. Like, there's no way a stoner comedy should be matching with a film noir Philip Marlowe story, but somehow it's
Yeah.
perfect. And
Yeah.
it's really mind blowing that they pull that off more than once. And you look at "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou," which is another one that I quote all the time, and
That's a good one.
it's another great example of this. Like it's literally a Greek tragedy. It's a retelling of the Odyssey, and set it in the 30s during the Depression. And how do these things work together? But they do perfectly.
Uh, I hadn't seen "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?" Um, until I was older too. I want to say like maybe a couple of years ago, and
Oh
I'm
wow,
glad I kind of saw it later.
yeah. I think you need to be the right age to fully appreciate it, and
Hmm.
I think it really drove home. Like, for those of us who are older, we already kind of knew, even though he was always bit parts in the background, never really hooked. But Clooney played in a lot of sitcoms before he hit with ER, and we knew he could do comedy. But for a larger
Yeah,
audience, I think a lot of people were like, "Oh man, that guy's funny, and he can do it really, really well."
I agree. I agree. Yeah, I just remember seeing him in Roseanne.
Yeah.
Do you have? So, what are your honorable mentions?
So a few of them have been brought up already. Like I said, "So I Married an Axe Murderer" has always been one of my quotables. I lean on that thing all the time. I talk about virtual planetoids and heat, and and it's like I love that movie so much. Office Space has always been something that comes up for me a lot. And like, again, there are those films that have just like the one or two lines that just hit. That
Hmm.
can be really great too. But um, yeah, and "Oh Brother" was definitely on my honorable lunch. I felt like there's a whole slew of Coen Brother movies that they know how to write dialogue and create great memorable lines. And "Raising
Yeah,
Arizona" has always been on that list too for me.
that's a good one.
It's like, yeah. "Son, you got a panty on your head." You know what I mean? Come on, that's just a great line. Do I get to use that every day in the office? No, thankfully, no. But it's funny.
That's a good movie. I haven't seen that in years too. I saw that when I was like a little kid, so I
Yeah.
didn't take it all in. I'd love to watch it now because I'm sure I would enjoy it a lot more. I just remember it being a lot darker in general
It's
than
dark and it's weird. It's very surreal.
it's a little
And the Coens
cartoony
do that
too.
really well. And it's like, that, and Holly Hunter is so great in that role, just like
She's
so
cool.
desperate for a baby that she'll do anything. And it's a great film. It really is.
I gotta check that one out again. So those are your honorable mentions. Any other picks before
Um,
we continue?
Yeah, I mean, there were a couple others that did, were kind of on my. If I stretch this out to like a true like top 10 list, I don't know if I want to get that long for us. I mean,
Yeah.
but yeah, there was definitely there were a few other ones that really pop into my head immediately, and of course, like I said, Star Wars is something that immediately pops in the head. Airplane, something that immediately pops in the head because they're just very quotable. And I mean, Star Wars for me though, I left it off because I feel like it's hard for me to think of it as a single film. It's such a complete massive story, and I didn't want it to
Uh-huh.
be like I'm doing a list for these whole genres or whole, like, it's like it's its own thing. Yeah, I do I quote Star Wars every day? Yeah, absolutely. But it's
I'm
not
not
one movie.
surprised.
Yeah, right.
By the- by the way, Rick does wear a kilt once in a while. So did
I do.
that kilt come from So I Married Axe Murder in any way?
Well, not not exactly, but ironically enough, it is. Like that character, I do have Scottish ancestry, and
Hmm.
so I do have this kind of connection to that world, and I get it. And that's part of what made those scenes even that much more funny. I was like, when you
That's cool.
understand the the Scottish way of thinking a little bit, it can, like, there can be an aggressive tendency. I mean, we're in the middle of the World Cup. I'm sure everyone has heard the stories of the Tartan Army and literally drinking Boston Dry. They ran out of alcohol in the entire city of Boston because of the Tartan Army. So, I mean, yeah, it's a different way of life.
That's cool. Very cool. So I have a few picks. I have a main pick and I have some honorable mentions. But the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to kind of just say some quotes. So my main pick is Nacho Libre. Came out in 2006. So I got for a few quotes. I got get that corn out of my face. I got I don't know why you always have to be judging me because I only believe in science. Beneath the clothes, we find a man. and beneath the man we find his nucleus. Uh, I got I forgive you. That was a good one. And then do you not realize I have had diarrhea since Easter's? And don't you want a little taste of the glory? See what it tastes like? And so I have those again. Nacho Libre, such a quotable film. There's so many more quotes, but I didn't want to like drag it on too much. So I do feel like Jack Black's the only guy who could play that role in that movie, Ignacio. And there's some films that are similar to that where you're like, okay, there's no one else that could have played that. A lot of Jim Carrey movies are like that, I think.
Yeah. Definitely I think for a lot of Jack Black films, it's like there's no one else could have done it. I think the same goes for a
Yeah.
lot of Robin Williams films. Like
Mhm.
only Robin can do Robin.
True, like Mrs. Doubtfire. I don't think
Yeah.
anyone could have played Mrs.
No.
Doubtfire. So let's see. Anchorman, The Legend of Ron Burgundy is my runner up. Let's start with this gem. Smells like Bigfoot's dick. Sorry. Next one is 60% of the time. It works every time. Next one is it's so damn hot. Milk was a bad idea. San Diego, which of course in German means a whale's vagina. I love lamp. You're so wise. You're like a miniature Buddha covered in hair. You stay classy, San Diego. And then last one I got is, hey everyone, come see how good I look. I don't know if you know this movie. You might know this one. I don't think a lot of people know this one, but I was like, I gotta include this one. It's Kids in the Hall Brain Candy.
Oh man, that is such a great pull. I am thoroughly impressed by that ad. That's a great one.
Thank you.
I mean,
Thank
because
you.
Kids in the Hall. I mean, like the show too. Like it's just so. They had such great way of viewing the world
Mm-hmm.
in a really offbeat, weird, off kilter. I like to like when I'm working with patients. I like to say that like the way you can solve a problem is not looking straight at it, but turning it and looking at it from an angle. And I feel like
Uh-huh.
that's what Kids in the Hall have always done. Is like, okay, we could look at it this way, and
Yeah.
this is the way the world looks to everyone else. But if I just see it from a sideways angle, it's completely different. Now I'm crushing your head.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think Kids in a Hall have this weird, really weird but relatable view of the world that they
Absolutely.
express. So, Kids in the Hall, it came out in 1996. Brain Candy was the movie that I'm talking about, but they had a show prior to that that came on after Saturday Night Live, and before that, it was a show that came on in Canada, I believe.
Yeah, they're all Canadian, and they've got that mindset for sure.
Yeah. But if you have not seen Kids in the Hall, Brain Candy, you got to check it out. It's so good and it's so underrated. I don't think it's rated at all, but it's amazing.
Yeah, you just gave me another one to add to my daughter's must watch list because I honestly it's
Oh,
one like I've seen it, but I kind of forgot about it, like, and I don't know how because it's such a weird, fun, bizarre film. It's like
yeah.
only they could come up with it.
It's ahead of its time too.
Oh,
It's
totally.
also LGBT friendly.
Yeah, absolutely. In a lot of ways, I feel like it was almost like a precursor to some of the Will Ferrell sense of humor of going
Hmm.
completely over the top and making it, but playing it straight, like over the top is just normal, and
Yeah.
like it's great stuff.
I think I need to rewatch it too. Even just watching clips last night, doing some research, I was like, oh man, I gotta show my wife this. It's so great.
Yeah.
So let's see. This is the drug for the world to give worms to ex-girlfriends. You just don't get it here. Woo! Uh, sorry we're a few hours late there, Ma. But you know how the kids hate old people. How could you sleep with my best friend and then tell me about it? And the other guy says, sure, I told you about it, baby, but don't shoot the messenger. And then last one is, so I hear dad's dead. Hey, is that eggnog?
God, that's such a great film. Yeah, that's just that crazy stuff. It's good stuff.
So that has been our podcast. That's been our episode today. Thanks for joining me for this one, Rick. Is there anything that you would like to plug or any shout outs?
Well, again, the couple of things you mentioned, about my background and the things that I do outside of optical. I am diabetic thanks to that surgery I mentioned. And, I do a lot of work with the Grown Up T1Ds, which is a community that is just trying to build a place for adult diabetics to still have community. So many of the programs are built around helping kids deal with it, and that's important. Don't get me wrong, but
Yeah.
adults still need help and support systems. And we've been blessed to have some amazing people here in Southern California involved. When we had the big fires last year, we all gathered together our spare supplies to help the people that lost everything in their homes, including their insulin and their insulin pod pump systems. That's literally life threatening to these people, including
Yeah.
myself. So if you lose that stuff, you could go any minute. And it thankfully has grown incredibly in this last year. And we now have sub chapters in Atlanta and New Jersey and Philadelphia and Boston. And it's really something to watch this really blossom in an incredible way this last year. And then outside of that, back into the optical world, I'm really proud to say that I finally, after almost 3 years of work, have managed to get an actual opticians association here for California.
Mhm.
We're one of the few states that still didn't have one, and we finally have one legitimately happening here in this state as a community source, educational resource to help opticians really turn this not just from a paycheck but into a career.
That's great. Yeah, yeah. And where can we find you?
Pretty much everywhere you can find me as Optical Jedi or The Optical Jedi. I'm there on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. You can find me all over the place. I don't just talk about eyewear and eye care. I am a big old nerd and passionate about the things I'm passionate about. So
Yeah,
you can watch out. I'm wearing a Rush shirt right now. I went to the Rush concert and I had lots of videos about that a couple weeks ago.
very
I do
cool.
travel and speak at conferences, so you get to see some of that sometimes. And I'm a insanely big hockey fan. I play hockey, so you'll see a lot of that too, whether
There
you
you
like it or
go.
not.
So also, we're going to bring back a twofer episode. So Rick is going to be joining us for next week's episode as well when we ask the question, what's the best movie soundtrack? So come back next week. We'll get into that. And it seems that our community is growing, and I'm really excited that it is. Thank you for submitting your answers. This show is fun because you're a part of it. Keep those answers coming. Also, thank you for listening. If you're listening and you're not a part of the community and you want to know where to find the questions for our future episodes, add best.most.pod on Instagram. That's where I randomly post the questions. And if you want to support the show, rate, like, comment, and subscribe. I truly appreciate it. And remember, there are no guilty pleasures when it comes to music, movies, and all art preferences. Love what you love and enjoy what you enjoy. That connection is such a gift. Until next time, take care and take care of each other. Bye-bye.